All right, we are live. It's time to get going. Running a little bit behind today, just a little bit. So let's jump in with, hello, Zach. Let's jump into our trading for today. We're going to start off, as always, with the swing trade account and see if we can't get this. That's not right. There we go. All right, so this is my Darwin X prop firm account, and my standard is this is the Bob. Of the three strategies that I trade, where's my media assets? Of the three strategies that I trade here, Bob, Frank, and Forrest, I always start with Bob, given that it's the one I've been trading for 4 years, 5 years, something like that. So let's look at the open trades we may have. This is pound yen. Oh my goodness. So this happens a lot. We get almost all the way to my first take profit up here, and then we've pulled all the way back, and now we're negative. Oh my goodness. It's all right. I mean, this is what happens in trading, especially when you have a trend that's been going on as long as these yen pair trends have been going on. Actually, before we look at open trades, look at closed trades. Let me see if anything happened here overnight. Oh yeah, actually, Euro Pound and Kiwi Swiss. So let's look at Kiwi Swiss. So I was expecting this to happen. So we hit our first take profit back on the 2nd. What was that? Monday, something like that. And then price for my system, when I hit my first take profit, I go ahead and move my. I use primarily I use two platforms. I use TradingView and I use MT5. TradingView is the more user friendly. MT5 is the more powerful. I find at least. This is MT5 that we're looking at right now with my prop firm account. So I hit our first take profit, moved my stop loss to break even for the second leg, and it came back and stopped me out at quote unquote break even, which in this case was a positive $16. It pays for the swap fees and whatnot. So got that one done. And look, I was kind of expecting it. We had this giant overhead supply zone. That's why I put my take profit right under it. I wasn't planning on. I really wasn't expecting it to punch through this. I was kind of expecting it to bounce off. Let's look at Euro Yen. Excuse me, that's not that. Euro Pound. Same thing happened here with Euro Pound. We got our first take profit and moved stop loss to break even. And then now this is something that happened yesterday. This is my fault. I did not check the news yesterday, and I just happened to remember this morning after seeing this notification, why in the world did the Euro Pound of all pairs, which doesn't move a lot, had this massive thing? Well, the Bank of England had an interest rate announcement yesterday, and let's take a and I forgot to check the news. Normally, I always check the news first, but I didn't do it yesterday because I was in a hurry. I was trying to get all this done, and it never pays to get in a hurry. So let's look at this week, and I bet you anything, Bank of England had an interest rate announcement that surprised. Oh, you know what? Doesn't matter that it surprised it. They had, and look, both the Bank of England and the European Central Bank met expectations, and you still got that massive amount of move. This is why I avoid trading any pair whose country has a bank of whatever interest rate announcement, because even when everything goes according to plan, you still have this massive volatility. So if I had remembered that there was this announcement yesterday, I would have gotten out yesterday here, and I'd have saved a little money as opposed to getting out at what, $9. I would have gotten out at, I don't know, $50, something like that. Big deal. Not big deal, but the whole point of this is to just manage your money and manage your emotions. I trade in a way that honors God and serves my family, and that comes with managing your emotions. So now let's go through all the pairs on this. So I'm a trend trader, and I can only get in on a pullback to something. or a brand new trend. And so like this Aussie yen pair, all the yen pairs, to be honest, have been trending, listening at school again. What pair are we looking at right now? We're looking at Aussie yen, and all of the yen pairs have been just on a tear since, oh goodness, let me zoom out. They've been, let me keep zooming out. They've been on an upswing since April of last year. Every single yen pair looks very similar. By the way, guys, be careful when you hear someone on social media say something along the lines of, hey, look at all my results. Look at how much money I made with the yen last year. Not that you can't make money with the year, but don't point to it specifically, because my dog could have made money going long the yen last April and hanging on till now. So anyway, long story short, for me, there's nowhere to get in. I need pullbacks, and none of them have. Well, I haven't had a pullback that qualified since November. Aussie yen. All right, Aussie Kiwi. Yesterday. Oh, this is the one that I missed because I was in a hurry the other day. So I actually had my signal to go long on the 3rd. That was Monday, and I missed it because I'm old. I'm in a hurry, and for whatever reason, I just missed this. Oh, thank you. By the way, my buddy Brian, 4th grade teacher, also has a trading room in the mornings. Y'all should check them out at Trade Masters with an I. How do I undo the? Where is it now? There it is. So I missed this trade here, and I would have probably hit my first take profit. But here's the thing: if the train has left the station, do not try to jump on board. Just admit the fact that you missed it, and wait for it to come back around again. So I missed it. Yes, I could beat myself over the head with the fact that I missed it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to move on with life. So Aussie Kiwi would have been a nice trade. Aussie US, nothing to do there. We're pulling back, but still nothing to do there. Swiss yen, not surprisingly, looks a lot like Aussie yen. Euro pound, okay, this candle today on Euro pound is so incredibly uncharacteristic of the Euro pound. This is why I know that it had to have been an interest rate announcement. 2 of them, in fact. And this is why you have to take news events into consideration, because neither the Bank of England nor the European Central Bank did anything out of the ordinary. They were both expected to keep rates the same. They both kept rates the same, and still, all right, let's just for the sake of argument, let's just take a look at today's candle. Today's candle range is 85 pips. The ATR is 40. Average true range is 40, which means today's candle is over 2 times what a normal candle would be. Central bank. So I avoid bank of whatever announcements, and I avoid elections. Those are the 2 bits of news that I get out ahead of time, assuming I remember. But then again, I'm 51 years old, and I forget things. Euro yen. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Boom. All right, so Euro yen, I do have an entry signal here. You think, how in the world do I have an entry signal here? It is wild. There is no way to predict what the markets will do with news. Now, I say that the central banks didn't change their interest rate, and they didn't. But what we don't know, what I haven't checked out, is after they make the announcement, then they have this long speech where they talk about what they're thinking about for next time. So there could have been some language in their announcement that led people to react. I heard once this saying that the market can stay illogical longer than you can stay liquid. So, all right. So you see, we pulled back down into my no man's land. And then yesterday we popped above it, which tells me to go long. We did not have confirmation signal down below. Today we do. Ryan says truth. And he should know he's a 4th grade teacher. Bless his heart. All right. Or 5th grade. I think it's 4th grade. So let me pop up my trade manage, or my trade entry. By the way, this is free. If you go to earnforex.com, or at least, this is where I got it from 5 years ago. It's a free little tool here that just enters trades for you easily. All right. So I take 2 positions, not 3, but 2. I use the ATR for my stop loss and my take profit. Every entry, I use 1.5, the ATR of that day for my stop loss, and 1 ATR for my take profits 1 and 2. I go in at 1% risk. Make sure everything is set up correctly. And it is. Click. And then enter the trade. Double check. Oh, hang on. I don't want to rush this. Earn Forex, all spelled out, EARNFOREX.com. This is their position sizer or their position size calculator, one of their free EAs. They have a few left over for MT4. Most of them now have moved on to MT5. All right, let me jump up to the weekly time frame and let me pop my supply and demand tool on here. And then jump back down to the daily chart. I don't like going long anytime that there is an overhead supply zone. You think, oh, hey, look, there's an overhead supply zone. Yeah, but it's been used up. It was there, and now it's been used up. So I can consider this supply zone to be gone, and I can enter this trade. So that's the last little hurdle I look for. I have confidence. I'm in the right direction. I'm above my baseline. I have confirmation down below for my main indicator, and there's nothing in the way. And so it is time to enter that trade. So I want to do that. Make sure I'm at 1%. I am. Change it all to pending, so the lines don't move. Let me delete my second take profit. I don't have an automatic exit for my second take profit. Are you using the VWAP or the EMAs? This is a 30. The two lines that you see in the middle, the green and the red. There's a black line in the middle. That's an EMA. I think it's a 30. It's been 4 years since I set it up. Don't catch me lying. And then it is one standard deviation above for the green line. I'm sorry, not standard deviation. One ATR above and below to make the green and the red. That forms my channel. And look, this is what's amazing. This is why I encourage everybody to go out there and join some trading group. I've got one. Trade Masters also has one. Some guy in some trading group I was a member of made a random comment one day. Oh, I don't use one line. I use a channel. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Why don't I do that? And that made all the difference in the world in my system. So that's what they are. There's just an EMA that's mirrored above and below by one ATR. All right. I don't have a second take profit automatic. I let price stop me out because after my first position gets my first take profit gets hit, I move to break even. After I've moved past what would have been my second take profit, then I start trailing the stop, and then I'll let price get me out. All right, let me switch this real quick from calculating by ATR, which means tomorrow it would change to just locking those numbers in place. All right, so that is a brand new entry on Euro Yen. Pound Aussie, nothing to do there. Boy, if I had to, Pound Aussie is just this was a great trade for me. The 9, actually, if I've got time, I'll show you Forest. Forest uses uses the 9 and a 30, a 9 linear weighted and a 30 EMA. Yeah, I love the channel. Also, I need to try to show you. I had some losses on Frank. I say some. I had one loss on Frank. All right, Pound Swiss. Okay, let's take a look here. Pound Swiss. Oh my goodness, there is a what looks like a signal on Pound Swiss. Let me do two things. I do have my strategy is simple, right? I have two indicators and ways to get in, and then I had just a few simple rules. The simpler, the better. I try to pattern creating this after God's creation in Genesis. It is all just simple, just 1, 2, this or that, dividing things. So I like a very simple strategy. So one of mine is on this type of entry. I'm not going to get into the details. It's called a continuation entry because it pulled back up into no man's land and then the trend continued. I won't enter on a candle that's 1.5 times the ATR because I think it's just too big. Today's candle range is 119. And the ATR is 85. So 85 times 1.5 would be around 120 something. So it's just under that. So I can, in fact, enter this. The next thing I need to do is check for demand zones down below. Oh, and surprisingly, there are no demand zones down below. I would have thought for sure there would have been one down here the way price bounced, but it didn't. So another entry here. So I'm going to go short what is this? The Pound Swiss. Going to go short Pound Swiss and going in at 1% and making sure everything is lined up correctly. I am at 1%, $1,000. And I think that's everything. I want to make sure I'm not going too quickly. And I have entered the wrong trades before on the wrong charts. I've entered the wrong direction before. I've one time entered a stock and I meant to trade Forex. So It never pays to rush through this. All right, so enter this trade, and boom, that trade has been sent to the market. I enter at market for this particular strategy. Cancel the second, take profit, and readjust my position size calculator to no longer calculate by the ATR, and moving on. All right, then pound yen. We're in pound yen already. We're negative on it. Like I said, we came within 4 or 5 pips of hitting our first take profit yesterday. Did not, and now we're negative. Kiwi Swiss is the one we were in. We're now back out of it again. We hit our break even. And Kiwi Swiss, Kiwi yen, nothing to do there. So you may think, what about the rest of the pairs? I track all of the pairs, but I don't trade all the pairs. And if I got time here, I'll show you my system. Actually, I probably should show you that now because you're wondering, why don't you trade all 28 pairs? I used to. And then I said, well, why don't I just track these things instead of trading them? Where is Bob? Where is Bob? Oh, excuse me one second. I'm trying to find the Bob. Give me 1 second, guys. This is why I should be more prepared. All right. Trading and strategies, and I'm going to go to, where's Bob trade tracking? Is it? Let's see if this one's it. Oh, nope. All right, I'll show it to you tomorrow because, by the way, programming note, tomorrow I will be trading at 70 miles an hour. Not the way I did in the past. I'll be a passenger this time around. All right. Well, that's Bob. Bob is done. I was up 2% for the month of January, and I'm up 1% so far in February. All right, so Frank. Now, Frank, I actually had my first loss in quite some time on the euro pound yesterday. So take a look at that. So let's go to Frank. Let's go to Match Trader, which is the platform that I've been given by my prop firm. I don't much care for it, but you do what you got to do. Euro pound. So again, this is my fault. I should have closed this trade yesterday and not been in it for the ride all the way through the Bank of England and European Central Bank announcements. And as a result, I lost this trade. I didn't need to lose. That's my fault. I wasn't disciplined enough to slow down and check the news before I traded. If I had, I wouldn't have been here. So check all the other trades I've got work going on. So I'm in a trade of oil. I always have a hard time pronouncing that word on the internet. Oil, Earl. At least I'm not from Texas trying to say that word. Hey, Brian? All right, so oil, I got in it yesterday. It triggered, and it's pulled back a little bit. This is my whole moving average engulfing candle strategy. I call it Frank because it's dead simple. Swiss yen, we're about 2/3 of the way to take profit. Euro pounds. Oh, we talked about that one already. That one was a loss. Kiwi Swiss is turned negative on me, and we're about halfway to stop loss there. Is that it? Just those? We got oil, Kiwi Swiss, and Swiss yen. Did I skip Swiss yen? No, we talked about Swiss yen already. All right, so that's all there is there. So now what I do here on TradingView, which is why I love TradingView, I can access it from anywhere as long as I have a connection. I'm just looking for this green or the red arrow. So I'm just going to scroll through these real quickly, looking for an arrow, which is my signal to enter a trade. I don't look for anything else. Why would you? I took all the time to answer all the questions in setting up the strategy so that when time comes to implement the strategy, I don't need to question. I don't need to think about it. I answered all the questions that needed to be answered on the front end. So I just scroll through looking for my indicators to tell me to get in, and they're not. This happens so often. Oh, well, thank you very much, Zach. It's been a blessing, guys. I recently came across here. I should put it on the screen as I read it. I recently came across your channel and purchased your book, and it's been a huge blessing as I rebuild my trading foundation with God. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, I wrote a book. It's called Trading with Joy. It uses the fruit of the Spirit and apply to trading. You can find it at tradingwithjoybook.com. I'm glad it's been helpful for you, Zach. So that is Frank. I love Frank. Frank is so easy, and you can just scroll through it just like that. And I highly recommend finding a list of things to trade. I like Forex because there's 28 of them. By the way, Mark, I have your comment, and I have been trying to get to my computer and answer your question. I will do that before the end of the day. Mark says, "Are those green, red arrows a certain indicator?" Yes, this is one that I found and adapted. This I forget the name of it, to be honest, but if you reach out to me, I can tell you how I created it, where I found it, and how I changed it. I call it Frank now, and it's simply this is the strategy, and you can go to Chat GPT and you can tell Chat GPT what you want from a trading view indicator, and it will write the code for you. So here's what it does. This is don't let me lie to you. This is a whole moving average set to 45. All right, this is a 45 period whole moving average, and it's looking for engulfing candles. So the strategy is this: when the whole moving average is red, let's say, because it's right now I'm looking at the dollar yen. When the whole moving average is red, price needs to open above the whole and close as a bearish engulfing candle. The opposite will be true for a long. The whole needs to be green. The price needs to open below it and close as a bullish engulfing candle. That's it. And so these green and red arrows just tell me, hey, the situation has occurred, and it's time to go long or short. All right, that is Forrest. Nope, that is Frank. I mentioned one of you that I was going to show you Forrest. Forrest is simply, Frank is easier because it's just two things, but it does require that you know what an engulfing candle is. Forrest is easier to explain. Forrest is the one I've got my 22-year-old. Oh goodness, he's almost 23 these days. The IT department learning with. Forrest is just two moving averages. That's it. At its core, there's two moving averages. You see, well, what are all these dots? The dots just represent the highest high in the last 50 candles, and the red dot is the lowest low in the last 50 candles. Why is that important? It tells you that the trend is continuing. So here in the middle, we haven't put in a new high or a new low, which tells, hey, there's no new trend. But the minute we put in a new red dot, we say, oh, we're in a downtrend, and we've put in a new low, which means the downtrend is continuing. Or in this case, we got these blue dots. We got an uptrend, and we're continually putting in higher highs. So this is simply a pullback to the 30. That is the entry. It's when I have the first blue dot, I start looking for a pullback to the 30. Or the first red dot, I look for a pullback to the 30. That's all it is. Now, yeah, I do tie it in. I look for confirmation. This is something that I've added, or me and my buddies have added. My buddy Rolando, my brother Pierre, have added to this. But at its core, it's just two moving averages. That's all it is. Wait for a trend to identify itself, and then get in when that trend pulls back to the 30. Trading is just answering 5 simple questions. That's all it is. There are 5 questions that every single trade is. Oh gosh, I'm running out of time. I was going to show you guys one last thing. Oh, hang on. Before I forget, I've actually got some open trades on this. So Euro US, CAD Swiss, and Aussie Kiwi. Euro US, CAD Swiss, and all. So Aussie Kiwi. You can see I got in on the pullback to the 30. This one got in late for some reason, and we're at about a third of the way to our take profit. Okay. CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss is entered, and it hasn't really moved a whole lot since we entered. Now, one of the problems with Forrest is that you're basically getting in on a pullback to the 30 and then hoping that pullback ends right then and there. Well, momentum doesn't really happen. Inertia takes it past it. So on a strategy like this, where you're a trend trader and you're getting in on a pullback, fully prepare your heart and soul for drawdown to happen almost immediately, because you're basically trying to catch this thing as it's going past and then hope it slows down and goes back the way you want it to go. But very rarely do we catch a falling knife. And here's the thing, we don't want to. I would much rather get in on a trade a little early, suffer through a little drawdown, than to miss the trade entirely. One of my dad's best friends was a Navy pilot, and I liken it to this. He said there's 4 wires on the aircraft carrier, and they are trained to catch wires 2 and 3. And if they catch wire 1 or 4, they get chewed out. Why? Or if you catch the first wire, it means you almost undershot it and crash into the ship. And if you catch the 4th wire, it means you almost missed it completely. That's the same thing with a trade entry. If you nail that entry on a pullback down to the pip or the penny. What that means is you were that close to missing it completely. So a system like this, especially the way I trade, which is daily, set and forget, adjust every few days as the moving average moves, expect to go negative on your trades almost immediately. And that's fine. They'll turn around or they won't. You've already planned ahead for, my oldest, my 24-year-old, the editor, was looking to get into the Navy, but he's working on fitness requirements in order to do that. So we have 3 open trades right now. This system's down about 1% so far. I've only taken, oh gosh, how many trades have I taken on Forest so far? Since it graduated to the real but small account in my 4-step process. Yeah, in my 4-step process, it hasn't done great. But then I've only had 4 trades. So I don't even begin to evaluate a system. Going on 18 years. Well, fantastic, Zach, and thank you for your service. I bet the Navy has changed a lot in 18 years. I don't try to analyze a system unless I've got 50 trades. Unless I've got 50 trades, you don't know what it does. Speaking of Forest, guys, before we get out of here, I need to show you the automated system I'm trading on Forest. I don't even know what it did. So I'm trading gold on the 15-minute chart. I call myself a reformed day trader. If you've read the book, you'll know that the whole story about me and God smacked me around and said, stop day trading. So I did, and now I'm a swing trader. But I do have an algorithm that trades automatically for me, 15-minute chart on gold using that same Forest strategy. So let's see what happened overnight. Oh, my goodness. I'm still in it. And that was a pretty good trade. So it entered here. Again, so here's your first red dot. It pulled back and got in at the 30, suffered through a little drawdown. And then here's your first take profit in the lap. Oh, gosh. I just hit my first take profit 15 minutes ago. And it has moved the stop to break even. Actually, this thing will now trail my second position. It'll either get out at 3-1 or it will get out at the trailing stop, which just follows the 30. So that is it. And it's 28 minutes long, and I'm gone long here. Thank you all, guys, for being here. Tomorrow, I will still be going live, but I'll be in the passenger seat of a vehicle on our way to Baton Rouge for gymnastics. But I will still be here. So until then, guys, I will see you all tomorrow.